The deep silence of space was as empty and cold as usual, but the atmosphere inside the spaceship, called Horizon Falcon, was the complete opposite. The crew had gathered together, making playful comments at each other, laughing and chatting, occasionally looking at Captain Roderick, sitting in the command chair, throwing in a few witty jokes in his direction. Roderick didn't mind at all. As he stared at the stars on the large screen in front of him, he held his carefully brewed tea. Perhaps this was the best thing to do as a captain. Tea, after all, was like the remedy to every cosmic problem. The ship's old but highly experienced AI Salt was monitoring the ship's operations down to the finest details while also joining in on the crew's relaxation with its voice. Salt's sarcastic remarks to the crew, delivered with subtle hints, made the cold and threatening vastness of space a little more bearable. But since Salt was also a serious AI, it was always on high alert, tracking galactic coordinates. As steam rose from the tea in Roderick's hand, the chain of events that would drag him and his crew into a void began, right at that very moment. "Sir, there is a star system ahead," said Salt, in its usual calm tone. "But there is something strange about this system." Roderick rolled his eyes. "Salt, stop saying strange. Everything is strange. Is there anything normal in space?" At that moment, the ship's engineering officer, Tessa, giggled and approached the captain. "If Salt says it's an abnormal kind of strange, it's definitely something fun," she said, tossing her hair back. "Are we going to the star system?" Salt continued in its soft tone. "Yes, but this star system is fading out unusually fast. Normally, the death of a star can take millions of years. But here, it's happening as if someone switched off the star." Roderick's interest was starting to awaken. Stars don't just fade away like that, especially when there was more than one star in a system. This was even weirder. "So, we're heading to a star system where the stars aren't exploding and dying as they should," he said, raising his eyebrows slightly. "Are they trying to tell us something?" Tessa shrugged, joking. "Maybe an alien gang is stealing the stars." Roderick chuckled lightly at the joke, but then turned his eyes back to the screen. "All right, Salt, what could be behind the fading of these stars? A disaster or some sort of weapon?" Salt replied after a moment of silence. "At this point, I cannot say for certain. However, this rapid dimming indicates that an external force might be intervening. Also, I'm detecting high-energy bursts in the system. This could be a sign of either a catastrophe or some kind of technological interference." Roderick took a sip of his tea, thoughtfully pursing his lips. "All right, let's move in closer. Let's see what's going on in this star system." The Horizon Falcon began to slowly advance towards a star system. As the captain and crew watched the scene on the screen, the feeling that something ominous was happening in the infinite darkness of space grew stronger. The star system that appeared before them, instead of the massive explosion or energy storm they expected, seemed to challenge them with its suddenly fading suns. The ship's pilot, Hank, fiddled with the console while keeping his eyes fixed on the screen. "Captain, we're moving toward the center of the system, but the energy is fluctuating significantly. It's almost as if something is draining the energy from the stars." A look of determination appeared on Roderick's face. "We need to figure out what's going on. This kind of energy drain can't be natural. Salt, have you detected any ships or structures?" Salt's voice took on a more serious tone as it replied. "Yes, Captain. The source of the energy drain is a massive space station located near the center of the system. The structure is incredibly large. It looks almost as though it's designed to absorb a star's energy." Roderick raised an eyebrow. "Absorbing a star's energy? Who would do such a thing? And for what purpose?" Tessa stepped closer to the screen, narrowing her eyes to get the better look. "We need to get a closer look at this station to understand what's going on. But whoever built it must have had incredibly advanced technology." Roderick took another sip of his tea and issued a command with determination. "Target that space station. We're moving in." The ship's engines came to life with a soft hum as the Horizon Falcon glided towards the gigantic structure. Everyone aboard stared in awe at the strange and massive object that appeared before them. Dazzling lights danced across the surface of its outer layers, giving the impression that the structure was alive, breathing in and out like some kind of organism. Salt, Roderick said without taking his eyes off the screen. What do we know about the station? Who built it? And how long has it been here? Salt replied without hesitation. Captain, this structure seems to be quite ancient. There are no known symbols of any galactic empire or alliance. But the level of technology far exceeds ours. Hank, adjusting the ship's speed, commented, maybe it's the remnant of some ancient civilization. But why would anyone want to extinguish stars? Roderick took a deep breath, pausing before answering. There's only one way to find out. Tessa, are you ready? We're going to need your engineering skills to uncover the secrets of that station. Tessa smiled. As always, Captain, I'm ready. Alien structures, you say? My favorite. As the Horizon Falcon slowly approached the station, the tension inside the ship began to rise. They had never encountered such a structure before. Entering it would be risky, but the potential rewards, unveiling one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries, made it worth the risk. Without taking his eyes off the screen, Roderick asked, So, are we expecting a star explosion by the end of this? Salt responded after a brief pause. If the station isn't fully deactivated, the buildup of energy from the star could lead to a massive explosion. However, we need more information to prevent that from happening. Tessa placed a reassuring hand on Roderick's shoulder. Well then, let's get in and see what we're dealing with, Captain. Roderick nodded. All right then, everyone, be prepared. We're going in. As the ship's outer doors opened, part of the crew began preparing for the landing. Tessa, Hank, and a few security officers would be part of the team heading into the station. No matter how advanced or dangerous the inner workings of a station might be, this crew was ready. The landing pod smoothly glided toward the station and docked. Tessa turned to Captain Roderick. We're ready, Captain. The entry point is stable. We're heading in. Roderick nodded. Report anything strange immediately. Salt, keep the ship's sensors running at full capacity. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Salt promptly replied, Of course, Captain. Sensors are active. I'm continuing to monitor the station's internal structure. When Tessa and her team stepped out of the landing pod, they were stunned by the sight before them. The massive corridors, walls adorned with intricate designs, and beams of light constantly shifting throughout the space created an atmosphere that felt alive. It was as though this place itself was a living, breathing entity. This place is definitely strange, Hank said as he looked around. Could it be that this structure is operating on its own, some kind of autonomous system? Tessa's eyes landed on the massive machinery surrounding them. Are the machines autonomous? Or is something controlling them? That's what we need to figure out. As they moved further in, they began to feel a strange rhythmic vibration. These vibrations, coming from deep within the station, were both eerie and mesmerizing. As the team progressed deeper into the station, the vibrations grew more intense. The vibrations were no longer just limited to the metal floor beneath their feet. The tension in the air was palpable. It felt as if the station itself was alive, radiating energy from every corner. Tessa, Hank, and the security team examined their surroundings with great care, but none of them could yet understand the purpose of this massive structure. Hank, scanning the console in front of him, suddenly focused on something. Tessa, take a look at this, he said. The patterns on this wall, they look like energy flows. It's as though this structure is channeling the star's energy throughout its system. Tessa moved closer, narrowing her eyes to get a better look. Is that possible? Could a structure really absorb and utilize a star's energy? Hank shrugged. In space, anything's possible. Believe me, this isn't just a station. It could be some sort of energy processing hub. Tessa agreed with Hank's analysis. The designs on the walls and the floor didn't seem like simple decorations. They appeared to be veins, directing the energy of the stars into the structure. If that was true, then this station might be some kind of weapon or machine designed to harness star power for its own purpose. Tessa tapped her communicator to inform Roderick. Captain, this place is more complicated than we thought. The structure is absorbing the star's energy and circulating it within. This is more than just a space station. Roderick's voice echoed through the communicator. What does that mean, Tessa? Is this thing a weapon? Or is it an energy plant? Tessa hesitated for a moment. I'm not entirely sure yet, but a structure of this size wouldn't just be used for energy production. We'll need more information. We'll keep heading toward the core. As Tessa, Hank, and the security team moved further into the corridors, they encountered enormous doors and even more intricate machinery. With each step they took, the intensity of the energy around them grew stronger. As they approached the station's core, they could even feel a change in temperature, indicating how powerful the energy flows were. After some time, the team arrived at a massive door, unlike the others. This one was adorned with strange symbols and circular patterns. Tessa stopped in front of it, her eyes fixed on the symbols. Could these symbols be some kind of language? She wondered aloud. Hank pulled out a scanner and began analyzing the door. Weird. These don't match any known galactic language, but they seem to interact with the energy waves. Tessa reached out to touch the symbols on the wall, feeling a slight vibration. This place might not just be an energy hub. It could be some kind of communication point. If we can connect the right pieces, maybe this structure can communicate with us. Tessa's suggestion brought a brief silence to the team. Could this station truly be equipped with a consciousness? If so, this technology was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen before. Humanity would need centuries to reach such a level. But standing here, facing this structure, it seemed that everything could change in an instant. Tessa carefully pressed a panel next to the door. A soft glow appeared on the panel, and the door slowly began to open. Warm air rushed out from inside, brushing against the team's faces. Behind the door was an enormous room with a glowing energy core at its center. Tessa's eyes widened in amazement as she took in the sight. "This is where the star's energy is being gathered," she whispered. The core was a gigantic sphere, radiating with constantly shifting colors. Waves of energy swirled around it, making it appear like a miniature star. However, this core was under control. Its energy was being systematically processed and used for some purpose. Hank, still staring at the core, spoke. "This thing can completely control the energy of a star. But why?" At that moment, a voice echoed through the room. Salt was still monitoring the situation. "Captain, I'm detecting a powerful energy surge coming from the core. This surge could cause the structure to spiral out of control. Be cautious." Tessa took a step back, heeding Salt's warning. If this core releases its energy uncontrollably, not just this system, but surrounding systems could be in grave danger. Hank quickly scanned the area. "How are we going to control this thing? There's nothing here to guide us." Tessa, without taking her eyes off the core, began thinking quickly. This structure may belong to some ancient civilization. If we can't stabilize the core, we could be looking at a catastrophe. Just then, they noticed movement at the far end of the room. The security team immediately drew their weapons and assumed defensive positions. The room fell silent. Moments later, a figure emerged from the shadows. The figure was humanoid in shape, but not quite human. Its glowing eyes and the metallic armor wrapped around its body made it appear both menacing and mysterious. The figure spoke slowly, its voice echoing through the room with a deep, resonant tone. "Intruders, why have you come here?" Tessa and Hank exchanged bewildered looks. Could this figure be the station's guardian? Or was it perhaps a manifestation of the consciousness controlling the star's energy? Tessa cautiously took a step forward. "We're just trying to understand what's happening here. Why is this station extinguishing stars?" The figure remained silent for a moment before taking a deep breath. Its metallic voice sharpened as it replied, "The stars are our energy sources. Extinguishing them maintains the galactic balance." You would not understand. Tessa was taken aback by the figure's words. "Galactic balance. And who maintains this balance?" "You." The figure narrowed its glowing eyes. "We are the Antikar Guardians, an ancient race that protects the galaxy. We regulate the balance of the galaxy using the energy from the stars. But you have come to disrupt this balance." Tessa tried to process the figure's words. Hank interjected. "So this station is designed to control the stars? But wouldn't that mean entire systems would be destroyed?" The figure slowly nodded. Every star's time comes. We accelerate their time. The balance is above all else. Tessa looked at the figure with growing concern. But that balance could destroy the galaxy. If the stars die all at once, millions of lives would be lost. The figure's eyes glowed once again. The balance is beyond life. You do not understand, but it is too late. You have already disrupted the balance. At that moment, the energy surges coming from the core intensified. The core trembled, as if it were on the verge of exploding. Hank frantically examined the control panel. Tessa, this thing is spiraling out of controls. Tessa urgently searched for a solution. We need to stabilize the core. If it explodes, not just the system, but multiple systems could be destroyed. The figure silently stepped back, watching as events unfolded. The balance has been broken. It's too late to escape. Tessa and Hank realized that time was running out. If they didn't act fast, not only the stars but the entire galaxy could be in danger.